Good morning, or good evening, or good afternoon, or whenever you're watching this. This is round 8 of the Alvechurch Winter League. Feeling a bit stiff, a bit sore, but that's another story. So drew peg 3 on Canal, which potentially is going to be a very good peg because it's quite mild. I think any of the ends are going to be favourable, but everyone's got quite a bit of room. So there's 2 empty pegs between every
Wasn't
competitor,
worried I
but
was.
obviously I think
Weren't
ends.
worried. Tapped in a few pellets,
Just
not a bite.
speaking to the lad next door,
Bobbed for a tiny bit, not a bite.
I was getting a bit worried, to be honest, because I hadn't had a bite. I didn't want to show the video, so it's taken about, I think it's about 12 minutes to get my first bite. So I shipped across, tapped in a few
He's
pellets to
catching
my
on there. He's on his
left,
second one.
where I felt maybe I
He's on his second one.
wouldn't be the best place to catch. And then,
Yeah.
I know it might sound weird, but I wanted to keep to the right, where I have seen the odd fish move, because it's a bit clearer than it looks. And therefore I was giving me options to maybe feed maggots or just bob, or I just feel I wouldn't ruin my peg, if that makes sense. So anyway, tapped in some pellets, never had a bite, bobbed a few places with bread, and then with maggots, not a bite, and then just dropped back onto the pellet line, and pretty much had an instant response, which was a real relief. And rig-wise, 2.3 elastic, 018, 015 to an 18 hook, and a 4mm pellet. Just a soft spander pellet, and then just feeding 4mm fishery pellets. Always a little bit concerned about feeding the 4mm or any of the fishery pellets this time of year with the cold water, because they're a darker pellet. I feel maybe they've got a tiny bit more oil than maybe what Scret and Coors pellets would have. I haven't looked at the label. I could be wrong. I don't think I am, but I think when it gets really, really cold, it might be more advisable maybe not to feed pellets. I don't know. Let me know what you think about that. So they're aqua primer pellets. You compare that to Screton Coors pellets.
Get it out, Jin. Get it out.
So looking at Lee on peg 12, he was catching pretty well. He started short. He started like on a top hit +2. And spoke to him after the match because obviously this is a voiceover, and he's fed micro pellets and fish corn. So he's caught pretty well, to be fair. Which I felt, looking to my left, the 2 people in the middle were unfortunately struggling a little bit. So it was evident that these carp were going to be on the ends, and I'm lucky that I'm on one of them. So basically, there's 8 pegs and there's 4 end pegs. So, 50% chance you're going to be on one. So I was lucky to be on one. So what I'm noticing now a little bit is when I'm feeding bait, is it's taking a while for me to get a bite. So what I'm thinking I'm going to do, well, what I did do is I set up another line. So what I've done is now, to make myself more productive, I'd feed, say, in front of me where I didn't think I'd catch, and then also then I'm feeding to my right. Now I'm using the same rig, happy days, plumbed it, so it's all gravy. So therefore, this definitely was a good move by me. So I fed to my right to the point, and then also fed to my left in front, or slightly to my left. And therefore, now I felt this made me quite productive. And basically, I had 12 carp in about, looking back at this, probably about 50 minutes, which you might think, oh, 12 carp in 50 minutes, but that was pretty good. And that would have been, looking at my weight, I think that would have been roughly about 45 pound. So that's a fantastic start. But unfortunately, as you probably guess where this is going, it faded away. I'm not sure why that happened. The carp just seemed to just sort of disappeared. And I should have been more on the ball when I should have fed maggots to start catching barbel. But I was worried about like feeding maggots. Would I get bitted out? Would it, I've had such a good run on pellets. You're thinking, oh, they'll come back. And also I sort of kept a pellet line as well, like regularly sort of like topped up, hoping that maybe the last hour that pellet line would come back, which it didn't. So I definitely got something wrong there. Now I was having a decent run, and Stephen next to me, so Stephen Foxall. Apologise if I got your name wrong. I'm pretty sure I got it right, so don't get everything right. I definitely didn't get the feeding right. I wasn't quite quick enough to switch onto it. Just Luke's feeding a bit of corn and 4 mils down the edge is almost like a throwaway line. I didn't unfortunately produce. So Steve Foxall next to me is catching barbel pretty well. So obviously, as you said earlier, this is a voiceover, so I know what's happened. So he's had 3 carp, and then all the rest was barbel. So he's had like probably just over £70 of barbel. So this is a barbel in my hand now that's going pretty crazy. So they fight so hard. So people that say, I don't want to start like a lot of trouble or anything, but barbel do well in still waters as long as they're like this sort of still water where there's loads of bubblers, the oxygen's really high, and the water is obviously top quality. And they do thrive because they were stocked real small and they've grown loads. Like I reckon some of the barbel I caught today were probably knocking on £4, and they're absolute nightmares. So I hate to think what they're going to fight in the summer when the water is really warm and that, and they're going to be at the height of their fitness, so to speak. So yeah, be warned. You definitely want some proper gear for them, I think. Actually, I don't think. I know. So just basically sounds lazy, using the same rig from the far bank that what I am down the edge. So spot on with the depth. So just come away from the bank slightly, obviously not right tight in. Otherwise, I try to feed it because I figured that there was quite a lot of fish there. So I did feed tight against the bank and never had a bite. So depth obviously is really important. So, 1 meter to my right, and probably not even that, probably 3/4 of a meter made all the difference. Like 3/4 of a meter to my right, not getting a bite. Then going to my left, probably another, I don't know, maybe another 8 inches of water is just massive. So obviously location is very important. So that's something, I'm learning now. I've been a bit more sort of like looking back at, well, watching these videos myself. You're looking back at it and thinking, actually, looking at this, I should have done this, I should have done that, could have done a lot better. So yeah, just feeding maggots down the edge. And it gives me the option of obviously catching everything that swims, and the barbel just love maggots. So didn't pile them in, just filled up the toss pot, wasn't getting baited out or anything. So it was the way to go. But fish were definitely backing off and definitely wanted to rotate lines a bit quicker than maybe I did. Missing a few bites, which is surprising, to be honest with you, because normally barbel just absolutely nail it. So look at that, just missed 2 bites, look, drop it in, and happy days. Well, I hope you've enjoyed the video. It's a bit longer than maybe what I normally make them, but hopefully you got something from it. And if you have, give it a thumbs up. Normally I never ask for this sort of stuff, but it does help. I've noticed when I've asked people to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel, then people do. I think sometimes you just, take for granted if you ain't asked, you don't do it. So, yeah, I had a great day's fishing. It sort of went my way. I did honestly thought that Lee did beat me. If I was a better man, I thought he had more than what he did. So barbel definitely out. I had 68 pound of barbel, and then the rest of carp, so quite an even sort of split. There's all the weights, and there's the results as well to follow. Yeah, all to play for in the last round.